Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to the call for this afternoon. It's good to see you here, and I see some faces that I recognize and some that I do not. So to those of you who I am meeting for the first time, welcome. My name is Charles Harper, and I am with Gain Mindshare, and it's good to see everybody here. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing the first of our series that we're calling Actionable Intelligence, and you will be able to come to these calls on a weekly basis, and you won't have to worry about getting pitched. Okay, so I think that we can all appreciate at least for this hour, right? For this hour of your day of your marketing life. You are going to be able to learn something, and you're not going to get a sales pitch. How about that? So to those of you who I'm meeting for the first time, I see Alex and Allison Younger. I don't think we know each other. Welcome. Angie Kelly, welcome. Good to see you. Carrie, I recognize you. Good to see you. And I can't mention everybody, so we've got a lot of people on the call, so I'm just kind of picking and choosing. Dan, welcome. Dave Abrams, David Roberts, good to see you. Deborah, welcome. Good to see you, my friend Deborah. Jack, good to see you. James Sia, my man, good to see you. Always good to see you in the house. And Lou Silva, we haven't chatted for a while. Good to see you. And John Gallagher, good to see you. No pitch, no steroids either. Absolutely, that's right. And Matt, I don't think we know each other, but good to see you. Omar, welcome. And Terrell, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend, all the way hailing from Atlanta. Okay, good. Oh, glad your audio's okay, Mary. And Vera, welcome to you also. So again, if I missed your name, it's not personal. I still love you. It's just because we got to get going because we've got a fantastic training with Christine OKelly today, and she's going to be schooling us on some power PR tips. And I think that we can all recognize that what we know is marketing, search, social is all convalescing. It's all kind of gelling inside of what we know as PR. I mean, you can have the best SEO in the world, but these days, some people are leapfrogging the entire process, and they're doing that with PR. And you're going to have to know it if you've got clients that you've got to serve, or you've got to do it for yourself. Let's face it. If you don't have good PR, you could end up being at the top of the search engines, but yet not having, the name recognition that everybody else has. So this is something that we're probably going to scratch the surface at today. We're going to be talking about press releases, and I'm just going to kind of sit back and let my guests just kind of wreck. And I just want to kind of just let you know, her site, OnlinePRNews, absolutely rocks. So we're getting somebody who's a doer, getting somebody who knows how to make things happen. I personally use OnlinePRNews. I personally use it to have my news results at the top of the search engine at the right time. So I'm not just giving you someone who does not know what they're talking about. They've got a process, and they kind of know the big picture. So what I'm hoping is that you can get something from Christine. So with that, Christine, welcome to the call.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to share these tips, and my hope is that when you leave this call, you're able to put together a press release and you have actionable ideas and information to get started. So my goal is to cover quite a bit today, so I'm probably not going to go into too much detail on each topic, but I want to give you an overview of what to look for, and then we have a lot of information and resources on our blog that is free that you can go and read more into if you have other questions. And I'm also going to leave some room at the end for a Q&A session. So this particular training, I'm calling it Power PR Training. These are crucial tips and tweaks that you can use to convert your press releases into powerful marketing tools. So in this hour, we're going to talk about how to identify news release opportunities, how to select strategic keywords that will improve the visibility in front of a local and global audience, how to write press release headlines that command attention but also rank in the search engines, and how to turn press releases into multimedia landing pages, and how to correctly build links in a post-Panda and Penguin world. Now, each one of these things could easily be several hours long, so we're just going to kind of be scratching the surface of these, and I want to give you the most important tips on each of these points. So you might be thinking, you know, well, why press releases at all? And I think I like to share the reason that I'm so fascinated with press releases. I started doing content marketing 8 years ago, and press releases were the one piece of content, and we did all kinds of content: articles, blog posts, press releases, web content, slideshows, PDFs. But press releases were always, in my opinion, the most effective thing. They establish a sense of credibility. People will republish them because even though they are, in a way, a piece of promotional material from your company, it is a legitimate news announcement. So people are more likely to share them, which is what you want online, is you want other people to share your content. And they ranked very well in the search engines. And those that allowed for anchor text links or URL links also were a way to build credible backlinks to your site. So they kind of do triple duty in terms of search engine visibility. And one of, duty number one is you're putting yourself out there in front of other news journalists, bloggers. These people are hungry for content to write about. So if you can get your content in front of them, let's say you've released a new product, or you have a new survey results. These are people that need information to write about. They need sources to quote. So these press releases are credible, quotable sources and ways to get your content in front of them. And in the past, before the internet, the goal of a press release was, you'd send it to an editor or at a magazine or newspaper, and it would either go in the trash or they would write about it. A very small percentage would be covered and the rest ended up in the trash. But the great thing about today's world, where you can publish press releases online, is that they're not just a means to an end anymore, but also an end. So duty number two of a press release is that if you optimize it correctly, it can actually show up in the search engine results.
Hey, Christine.
Yes.
Christine, are you advancing slides right now?
Yes.
Okay, it looks like our screen is frozen here, so we might have to go back to stage one. And
well, let me do this. This isn't the ideal situation, but you can probably see my whole screen. But hopefully, you can see the slide that I'm on.
Yep, we can see it now. Great, thank you.
Okay. So you are seeing one with Fort Myers CFP. This is a press release that we actually submitted in 2010, and the term that the client wanted to be ranked for was Fort Myers CFP. That was important, something people will be searching for. And that press release is still showing up in the first organic result for that release. So that doesn't always happen, but it really depends on how competitive the keyword is and a few other factors. But that's another goal that a press release can accomplish. And then a third goal is it's a way to build links to your website, which if you have any experience with SEO, you probably know the importance of that. So it's just a way that you can publish content that has links back to your site. So there are certain things and topics that are acceptable and not acceptable to write about when you're doing a press release. The reason that a press release can maintain its credibility as a piece of content is because it's not a fluffy, promotional only piece. And this is actually something a few of us in the industry talk about, is trying to keep some standards, because there are kind of shady or press release sites that don't care, they'll just take anything, and it kind of reduces the overall value of press releases in general. But like with our site, any quality site, they're going to have editors that are looking at it for with an editorial eye and saying, you know, this is a blatant ad or this is an announcement. But a lot of times people say, oh, I don't have anything to write about. There's nothing interesting going on in my company. And that's always a challenge to me because there's probably tons of things you can write about. And here are a few of the ideas. If you have a new product or service, that's definitely a time to publish a press release. A new blog or a website that you've launched, product enhancements or website enhancements. Every time you enhance something on your site, a new feature or some new addition to a product or product line, that's a reason to publish. Publication of new content. This is a really easy one. If you publish a blog and let's say you kind of convert it and adapt it into a downloadable PDF, something maybe a little more significant than a blog post, that is a reason to publish a press release. If you've achieved an award, you have an upcoming event or a contest, a promotion, sale, or some kind of partnership, or a new team hire, all of those are reasons to publish a press release. So all of these are ways to get your name out there and to build that presence for yourself. Charles, you were talking about having, doing that PR for your company. It's one thing to be found online, but before a client does business with you, in many cases, in certain industries, they're going to want to do their due diligence and, Google your company's name and see what's out there. And this is a way that you can control putting lots of positive content online, and they see all these press releases and you're doing this thing, you won this award, and it's like, wow, this is a leader in their industry. They know what they're doing. So those are some reasons that you can publish press releases. And now we're going to get into a little bit more of the technicalities of how to craft them. Keywords really are the cornerstone of writing any press release or anything you're doing online. In the past, before the internet, it wasn't quite as big of a deal with keywords. You kind of wanted that shock value of the headline, and now it doesn't really matter because people are not going to find a shocking headline if they're doing a search for a certain keyword, and that keyword is not in your title. It's not going to show up at all. So, and one thing I want to point out is Google isn't the only search engine. Pinterest is a search engine, and YouTube's a search engine, SlideShare is a search engine, Twitter is a search engine. So all of these places, people are going to these destinations and typing in keywords. And if your press release you're being shared on those platforms, it is usually the title that's being shared. So the title really is the most critical place to put in keywords. You want to put yourself in the mind of the person that you want to be in front of. What would they be searching for? What problems do they have? What questions are they asking? What are they typing into the search engines? And that's what you want to be sure to put into your press release title, so that when it is shared on all these networks, that people will find them through a search. So Google is obviously a search engine. So I had this is just an example of how I optimized a few things for the term SEO press releases. So you can see that you can actually come up and have multiple results in search engines by optimizing different kinds of content. Your website may be optimized for a term, but if you optimize a press release for a term, and that shows up in the search engines, now you've got 2 out of 10 chances that someone's going to click on your content. This just shows how if someone's searching Twitter or SlideShare or YouTube for different keywords, if your press release is being shared on these networks, that's another way for people to find you. We talked a little bit about crafting that headline, and sometimes if you try to put keywords in that are too generic, there's just too much competition for them. So one of the biggest mistakes people make when choosing keywords, and really keywords are something we could do a 1-week boot camp on, but I'm just going to kind of gloss over it here. But when you're choosing keywords, like I said, you want to put yourself into the mindset of the person searching and the exact problem they have when they need the exact piece of content that you are optimizing. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to choose a keyword that's too broad. So they might think, oh, healthy eating or fitness. They're choosing kind of category keyword terms. But other things that people are really searching for are actionable things like recipes for lowering cholesterol or exercises for women over 50. Those are more keywords where people are looking for an actionable answer, and there's going to be far less competition. A second mistake people make when choosing keywords are not picking keywords that are customer centric, so they're thinking of what they do. You know, how often do you look up business consultant? Like a person who's a business consultant might think, well, that's a good term for me, I'm a business consultant. But really their customer is looking for how to sell crafts or how to make more money, how to get more insurance leads. That's what they're thinking of. And then a third mistake people make when choosing keywords is going for if you're using a keyword tool like Google's keyword tool, finding these keywords that have tons and tons of searches, and you're thinking, wow, if I just target that keyword, I'll get thousands and thousands of visitors. But it's just so broad that people may not be looking for it, and the competition is so steep, you're going to end up invisible. It's better to use a more targeted, longer tail keyword and that has a lower search amount and get that highly targeted customer that's more likely to convert. So you want to use those keywords and combine those with something that's catchy for a headline. Because even if you show up with a keyword and it's really boring, no one is really going to be compelled to click that. So I think we showed this, but you know, tip number one when writing the keyword is, writing the title is to add those keywords in, and the closer you can put them in the front of the title, the better. So this title reads, Fort Myers CFP Mark Geisinger achieves Ameriprise Platinum status. So that may not be a very exciting headline, but for someone who's looking for a certified financial planner, that's a selling point. Tip number two for writing headlines for press releases, and I would say this is probably the biggest mistake people make ever. It happens all the time, and I can't drive this home more. But in the headline, you've got to make the benefit to the reader very clear. I always say, like, don't give them the orange and ask them to squeeze the juice out of it. Just, you've got to give them the juice. So don't make them guess what's in it for me. The headline should clearly state what is in it for me. And here's some examples of, you know, you could say, and I see something like this all the time. ABC Realty announces short sale buying webinar. Now that's correct. It tells what's going on, but it's not really exciting, and it doesn't really entice me to click through like a title that says short sale buying webinar teaches how to practically steal property. So that is the same it's the same message, but one of them makes me want to click through and find out how to steal property, and it also includes that keyword in the title. So here's another one, and these I think are real headlines that I picked from various press releases. Copywriter offers free e-course. True, but it doesn't make me want to click. And here's a way that you could rewrite that. New copywriting e-course shows how to grow your email list to 5,000 in 5 weeks. That is something that tells me exactly what's in it for me, and it makes use of that keyword in the title so that it can show up when people are searching. Now, in the past, I was kind of talking about, you would literally fax or send a press release to editors or to journalists, and it would look something like this. It would be on a piece of paper, and you can still publish them like this online. But we've got this dynamic platform now with the internet where you can literally interact with content. And now that the press release itself can actually be found by not only journalists but also the end user that you're trying to target, it just makes sense to make use of as many multimedia interactive elements as you can. So these are some of the elements that can be in a press release. You've got the things that are in every single one, like a title, a summary, your media contact information, the body of the content, and your boilerplate, and a quote. But here are things that can really turn a press release into something that converts. You can now embed a video. That's great if you're doing like a product demonstration, if you're announcing a new product. If you're selling an e-course or a webinar to just talk for a little bit about what people are going to get out of it. You can include anchor text links so that if someone's interested in what they're reading, they can click right through and read more. The block quote has been used in printing for years. It pulls out something that's an important point and makes it bigger. It kind of, your eye goes right to it, and you can really hook. It's another way to hook a reader into wanting to learn more. And then online you've got images and social media streaming. So people can see your latest Twitter feed, your latest Facebook posts. You can add files that can be downloaded, and then even an iframe where you don't even have to leave the press release to go and visit the website. And lots of press release distribution sites have this now. They're making use of all of these multimedia and interactive features so that the press release really is more than just an announcement. It's a full landing page. It's an interactive experience, and if you leverage all these things correctly, it can become its own landing page that lives online indefinitely. And the difference between just putting something like this on your own website and putting it out on a press release distribution site is that these press release distribution sites, they have more of an authority URL. So now you could publish content on your site and have content published on another URL, and it's not competing with each other. It's driving links back to your site from a credible source. And the press release distribution site will normally, and depending on which kind of distribution option you choose, will syndicate this content out to even more places, to more news sites and PR sites and social media sites. So it really makes sense to take advantage of all the different multimedia options that these sites offer. Now this is brand new, and what I'm going to tell you here is if you've been involved with search engine optimization for any amount of time, you know that the one constant is that it's always changing. So there was a Penguin Panda update, Google search engine algorithm updates starting about 1.5 years ago, but the most recent one was just a few weeks ago. And we've been trying to pull reports and do some, I've spoken with some other people in the industry to try to figure out, okay, what does this newest update mean to us? How is it impacting us? What do we change? And I've got this is like brand new information that a colleague of mine and I were just talking about yesterday, based on what performance of sites either ranking higher or lower. And I've got some do's and don'ts for you. So when publishing a press release, in the past, people would you would have your list of your favorite keywords, and every single time you publish anything online, a press release, an article, a blog post, you'd want to use these exact same words and put a link to your website or your web page in there. That is not working anymore. You need a diverse anchor text link profile. So when you're linking from your press releases, don't always pick the same word every single time. You want to use links that are natural. That's what Google's looking for. They want to see that their whole goal is to figure out if your website is a popular site that people like, and the measure they're using to do that is to see, are people talking about this? Are people linking to it? And the truth of the matter is that no one is going to link to your site in your ideal keyword every single time. So they're looking for natural links. So when you force them to look unnatural by choosing the same keyword every single time, that's actually hurting people now. Also, don't only link to your site in your press release. You have, 2 or 3 or 4 opportunities to add anchor text links. Your natural intuition is going to be like, well, I'm going to use every single one of these to link to my site because you want to get the most out of it. But doing that can actually hurt you. It makes sense to maybe link to other web properties you have, like your Google Plus page, your LinkedIn page, other resources that you've published online, like maybe it's on SlideShare or Scribed or other pieces of web property that you own, not just your website. Because again, that doesn't look natural. Most people who would be publishing a well-rounded piece of content would not just cite the same website over and over and over again. You want some diversity. What to do, kind of the opposite of the don'ts, but vary the keywords that you're using as your anchor text links. You can use variations of your target keyword. Like for example, we had a client that sells, like they're in Fort Myers and they do title insurance. So they have their keyword might be Fort Myers title insurance, but using that over and over doesn't make sense. It may be South Florida title insurance provider or Lee County insurance for homeowners, and that's some of the ones you want to do, but you'll also want to put links in words that just make sense. I've done some, just some studies where I just looked at random blog posts for places that were obviously not paid to promote sites, and they're just going to link to it in a place that makes sense. Like in this example here, it says a new video by Google's head of search, Matt Cutts, and the link is in the word new video because that is the logical place to put it. It's not in a perfectly packaged keyword, but it's exactly where it should make sense. You might want to put links in your name, your company's name, and not in, like the full name with the spaces, not the URL per se, but the actual raw URL is, and this is a real new thing with the Penguin 2.0, that may be something that we want to be doing more of. Not using anchor text so much, but more of the raw, full URL. And so really vary it up and think about it when you're doing these things is you want to have a very diverse backlink profile. Do link to other websites in your content, and do use URL links in your press releases, not just keywords. Let's see. I actually finished up a little bit early, and I always find that the Q&A session discussion is always the most helpful when I'm listening to a webinar or training, because then you're hearing real world problems and getting actual answers. So Charles, if you want to open it up to Q&A, if you have some questions, I would love to be able to answer.
Yeah, and yeah, we definitely do have some questions. I'd like to kick it off with one. Clearly, one of the things that I guess the post Panda and post-Penguin world is kind of pushing us to is to think more naturally about, how we speak and how we write and even how we link to things. One of the things that, and this is even a question that kind of came up, is how do we seed the press release and sound natural without overdoing it with, our keywords. So, in other words, we definitely want to take the opportunity to be effective in writing a press release, but at the same time, though, it appears to me that, the search engines are really looking for us to be more natural in the things that we say and the way that we communicate. So how do we strike the balance between that and, being effective with our keywords?
That's a really good point. And I would say that to answer that is to even step back a little further and remember the very first goal of the press release is to actually get other people talking about you. When you can get other people, bloggers, journalists, even if it's, just domains other than the ones that you are putting it out on. Like if a company is submitting a press release on the site, it's because they are putting it out on that site. But if a blog picks it up and writes about you using their own words, that's where you really win. So when you're writing a press release, I mean, it is a balance now because your end user can see it. But think about what is going to be of interest to someone that could write about me. And then really work those words in, the keywords in. Instead of thinking about it as keywords, think about giving someone who's reading it real resources to reference or to go to for more information. And when when your mind is in the right place and you're really writing to the right person and your goal is to be helpful and not selfish, it just kind of happens that way. I know that that's not the best answer. That's not exactly like a ABC 1 to 3 answer. But
Yeah, but I think it's an important. You created an important distinction for all of us, which is we're to some degree we're not always necessarily as we would an article, because I was going to ask you the difference between an article and a press release just for information's sake, but we're really not necessarily directing the entire message to the end user. We want to give somebody who would communicate something about us, the right information so that, they would be able to communicate something of worth, and then it would make us look good too.
Exactly. And then, so it's almost like, there's a lot of press release spam out there. We really try to control it on our site, but, there's a lot that's not, so-and-so launches a new site. It's not that big a deal, but you can really think about what would be of interest to someone to write about. Like any kind of first-hand information, like you could do a poll on Facebook and have original first-hand information, statistics that people could quote. That is something that someone might write about again. Or, you kind of just have to really think creatively, and that once you shift your mindset, it's like a whole new world opens up. I really see this when working with clients. They want to do articles and press releases, and they run it to be all about them. But really, the way you win in fact, probably since the beginning of time, but especially now online, the way you win is by really being helpful to other people and by being a thought leader. And this is a way that you can communicate that through press releases. And there's also additional benefits.
Right. No, that's powerful. Okay. Let's see. We have Carrie Gibson. Hello, Carrie. Carrie says, should we have an online press kit or media page on our site? And should it have our own press releases as either posts or PDFs, or links to where our press releases are published?
I love that because we're actually getting ready to roll out a media room. And the thing that I love about the media room is that it takes everything that you've already put in, all the information you've already put in to create press releases, and then all the the headlines are there. So my answer is yes, it's important. I obviously think it's important because we're creating them for our clients. But as far as putting them on your site, definitely. So it wouldn't hurt to have a media room in multiple places. A media room is just a place where it has your company information, pictures, contact info, your press release headlines, all collected in one place. What you want to be careful of is posting duplicate content. So you don't want to compete with your own self and your own content. Like your press release published on another news site is still your content. It's just on another news site. So you want to leave the original piece of content over on the news site, and then maybe have a headline link to it. That way you're not, because only one of those items is going to show up. And it's kind of nice. I always like doing it that way, where you're like linking to the published press release, because the published press release is going to have all these elements, the videos, I mean, depending on where you publish it, videos and pull quotes and downloadable documents, whereas it'd take a lot to put this on your own site. Plus it looks a little bit more, or it has a bit of an air of, importance, I guess, because it's published somewhere else and you're referencing it. I'm sorry, hold on one second. I was wondering when that was going to happen. It never fails.
That's right.
A webinar, somebody's going to show up to do the yard or something. And
No, that's when it happens.
yeah, it's the only time they come. So let's see. I hope that I love the idea of downloadable ones, though, too, because that's a way to show the press releases but not have duplicate content.
Right, that's great. Let's see, Bill West, Bill's asking about the reasons to write a press release slide again. Bill, I think we are going to, we're going to put the slides out, right, Carrie? Right, Christine? Sorry.
Yeah, I can do that, sure.
Okay, great. So yeah, I had a couple of people ask for the slides, so we will.
One of our most popular posts on our blog has 12 questions to ask yourself to uncover, I guess, reasons to write a press release. So like, have you published any new content? Have you hired somebody? Have you made any? So, and I can send you the link for that too, that you can send out to everybody. No,
that's fantastic. And one thing I would say to everybody who's on the call, and even if you're listening by archive, that if you're on Facebook at all, and I don't spend a lot of time on there, but I have liked the page for Online PR News, and routinely there's something that comes out that helps me to learn. So if you haven't done that, and they didn't ask me to tell you this, but you need to go on over to their page and like it, because they put out content like this all the time that will help you, if you are, doing this work for clients. So let's see. We have, let's see, well, Carrie, you're back up again with your question. Carrie's asking, do you recommend pinging press releases and building backlinks like bookmarking?
Let's see. Can you elaborate on that?
Carrie, are you asking if people should be building backlinks to the actual press release or bookmarking the press release? Is that what you are asking? Yeah, that's what she's asking, Christine.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the thing is, it's like if you're creating a press release that is basically a standalone landing page, and you want that page to rank, like I've got some site. That's a great question for a lot of reasons, because a lot of people are always trying to just get their own site to rank higher. I've got some content on hub pages and SlideShare and some press releases that those things are driving a ton of traffic, and they're getting a lot of hits, and then they're driving traffic and business to me. So yeah, it makes sense for me to want to promote those as well by driving, building backlinks to them, even though they're not on my site. It's my content. So anything that, any rules of SEO that you can apply to content that's yours but not on your site is great. It actually helps you, and I kind of showed it in this example. Like we had a hub page, a website, our other website, and a slideshow all showing up because your own website isn't going to show up 4 times, but if you promote your content on other authority sites, then it, you have, it's more chances for people to land on your content, whether or not it's on your site.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, David Roberts is asking if you could briefly touch on what did Panda and Penguin, what basically is happening or has happened, and what is basically Google saying with these updates?
Well, I love this because 8 years ago when I started content marketing, I read the college paper that they wrote, that the founders of Google wrote. All they've been trying to do since the beginning of this is put the most relevant and useful content in front of people who need it. That's all they've been, that has never changed. What has changed and evolved is how they're able to do that. There's social cues and signals, and you can basically profile pieces of content to see, like, a piece of relevant, popular content on this topic will have these attributes, and things that are less relevant will have these attributes. So it's really just a matter of kind of distinguishing and writing algorithms that will be able to pick those things out and sort them out. Because there's no human to judge whether a piece of content is good, and even if there was a single human, they can't decide what is relevant and valuable to the community. So, and it really does make sense, is if people are talking about you versus you pushing yourself, that's a pretty big clue that what you're saying is at least interesting, relevant, and valuable. And I'm really talking on a very basic level right now. There's so many. If it were this easy and basic, Google wouldn't have the smartest people in the world working for them. But,
That's right. Yeah.
But if you think about it, nobody wants to. Like, people have learned how to game the search engine. So, oh, well, I'll just publish a bunch of stuff and put these keywords in it, and they're trying to. When it looks less natural, you can easily look at the backlinks of a site and say, oh yeah, they have an SEO company, or these people don't. So yes, SEO, you do need to know it. You need to know your keywords. You need to optimize your pages for your keywords. You need to publish things in relevant places, but you have to publish things that are useful and valuable, and not just, the thing with links is that you'll notice if you really, truly are publishing something because you want to help people and because you want to link out to resources, almost like citing things in a college paper, you won't be putting them exactly in these beautiful keywords. You're going to be doing it right where it makes sense, like here, a new video by Google's head of search, Matt Cutts. And that's exactly where that link should be. But as an SEO person, you would never put it in the word new video. In fact, we used to tell you not to do that. That was, you would never put something in the word click here or something like that. But it's kind of coming back to where that's what makes sense. That's what people really actually do. So you need to have links like that. So the goal of Penguin and Panda is just to kind of pull things from social media any place where you can kind of gauge and calibrate that people are actually talking about another company in a way that's organic.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And, Christine, um, I'll save my question. I've got another one here from Clem. Clem, and he is asking, he says, I work in B2B and we use press releases to announce when major customers have signed with us because it encourages smaller customers that are in the pipeline to go ahead and close. How do you find Clem says, a sexy title for that kind of press release?
Good. That's a good question. And I would say, think about who you're trying to impress. Because the title doesn't always have to be sexy. It can be, like this one is not. Fort Myers CFP Mark Reisinger achieves America's platinum financial status. That's not amazing like some of these other ones, short sale buying webinar teaches how to practically steal property. But to someone who's looking for stability, that's sexy, right? So it's really, I would think that if your goal is to encourage smaller clients and they're saying, wow, these guys are signing all these people, they're probably finding you because they're finding the press release because they'll Google the company name and just see like, well, what's going on with these guys? And they see, they signed this person, they signed that person. I mean, that is accomplishing the goal right there. So I hope that makes sense. Like it really depends on who is reading it. And almost like to impress that person is almost like seeing a bunch of pages of press releases saying, oh, you signed this person, that person. They may not even click it. Just seeing that list of results in the search engine, maybe that may do the trick right there. Does that make sense?
Yep. All right, Clem. I hope that helps you out there. I've got a question from Omar, and Omar's question is, he's asking Christine if you have analytics on the number of press releases from your company that would influence inbound links. For example, if Acme Corporation does one press release with OnlinePRNews, they get 1,000 visits versus 10 press releases, they get 800,000 visits or something like that. I guess he's trying to find out if you have any, right, yeah.
That, I don't think I have anything that specific, but I do have some answers, and it brings up another interesting point. And because you have to think about each press release, and this is just an interesting way to look at the web. Every page of content on the web, whether it's all on your site, we have thousands of press releases on our site, but they're all just an individual page. So one press release may be more interesting or go more viral than another one, even if it's from the same company. That one would get more traffic and conversions things than another one. Maybe one of them has a keyword that's ranking really well, or one of them showed up higher in search engines because what didn't have as much competition. So I don't think it really matters. You have to look at each one individually. However, a couple of us in the industry that have gotten together and kind of discovered, because some press release sites offer like this all-you-can-eat buffet model where it's like, oh, pay this a month and have this many. And the reason we don't do it is because we think it promotes spam, because to have 30 different things to say in a month probably isn't true. And we've felt that way for years, and only recently started to put our heads together with others in the industry and realize those people that are doing that kind of thing, it is actually bringing the value of the sites where those things are being published down. And we noticed that if you do, say, 10 press releases, but only 3 of them are really becoming visible. If that makes sense. You know, you could do, I would say like the magic number is like 3 per month max. Because anything over that seems to not has a diminishing effect.
No, that's great. No, that's good. Good information. Good information. Thanks for that question, Omar. Matt wants to know. Matt says, "What are the best top 3 free online press distribution sites?" He is the new manager of a recently announced political campaign. Go, Matt.
Oh, good. Well, I feel like I'd be biased in answering that. So maybe.
Right. Yes, that's right.
I mean, I would say, just because I don't want to be biased and because we're not pitching anything, I would say, you know, just go and try a bunch of them, and they're free. So try them out, see which ones have, so there's tons of lists out there. You type in free press release distribution sites, and you'll find lots of roundup lists of things you can try, and just, I would say, poke around on there and see which ones work for you. As far as political campaigns, Mark Hardy is he's been doing press releases for years. He does kind of teaching and education on how to write effective press releases. This is Marcharty, Mark Hardy. And he was telling me the other day about, we were talking, and I want to get more details, and maybe I can send some information if he has it, but he had a lot of success with a political campaign doing press releases. So to answer your question, instead of answering your question about the best, I would say teach you how to find what you think is the best, which is by searching and trying. And then because you gave me that extra piece of information that you're working with political campaign, I would definitely check out Mark Hardy. And I know he has some success stories and it wasn't just like a one-shot, oh, this just happened to work. You know, he's a very analytical person that he does things with a purpose and with a formula.
All right, very good, very good. Okay, thank you for that question, Matt. And looks like Tatiana, yes, you will have access to the webinar, the entire thing. So, yep, don't have to worry about that. So if any of you are asking, well, is there going to be a recording or am I going to be able to watch it again? The answer to that is yes. So TC asks, I thought putting a press release needed to be very pointed in regard to the point of the press release, and that the more stuff included would prevent it from getting read and therefore reported on.
I agree that you do want to be very, you know, you want to just state the points. The goal is, like, you know, when I see that we have a bounce rate on our site that's high, that makes me happy, because my goal is for someone to find this press release and go right to your site. So if you are announcing, you're talking about a webinar that you're announcing, I mean, you might want to give some bullet points, but, or let's say you published a new research study. You're not going to give all the details of the research study in the press release. You're going to highlight on enough of them so that it piques your interest, and then you go over to go get it somewhere else on your site or wherever you're going to download it. So yes, you definitely want to stick to the who, what, when, where, how, and just whatever needs to be in there to get someone to convert. But it definitely, when you add an image, and there's studies that show that, you know, if you add an image, it's just, we can't help it as human beings to not go right towards an image or have our eyes go right to a link or look at that, you know, that pull quote right away. We're just naturally drawn to that kind of thing, especially faces. Like we will always look at a face first. And that's why headshots are good in press releases, even if it has nothing to do with, if you're announcing a new website feature, you might still want to put a headshot of the company founder because people are drawn to that. And then something like the iframe actually helps because this is just your website below, or they don't even have to leave. Over here though, I have had people, and I don't know either. Like I go back and forth, and it probably depends on the press release or your Facebook and Twitter stream, but that's questionable. Like, do you really want people getting off topic by seeing what's on Facebook? And if it's a landing page, you really want them to have one focus, one goal. If it's to sign up for a webinar, then link to that webinar. In the iframe, have the sign up for the webinar. Don't put Facebook and Twitter on there. Those are all, it's just all your own perception of that. But it's a valid point, As far as like the images and stuff go, I think those only help. Images, links, a pull quote. And the thing I like about the block quote is that in a press release, it has to be very factual. You don't want to use words like, "Oh, this is the best webinar ever." Or this,
right.
You're very factual. It's like fact, fact, fact. But your quote is where you can say something more passionate or more of an opinion, because you're quoting somebody. You're quoting a person, whereas the press release needs to come from a company that shouldn't have an opinion.
All right, so very good. Thank you for that question, TC. Carrie's asking, Christine, should we worry about including LSI keywords in the press release in addition to our main keyword phrase?
You mean like, yes, I would say, and that LSI, latent semantic indexing, like different variations of keywords that relate to your target keyword, absolutely, not just in press releases, but in everything that you're publishing online. It gives your link, just think about your link profile. What does it look like on any particular page on your site? And is it varied? It should be, it should not say like Orlando divorce lawyer, Orlando divorce lawyer over and over and over and over and over again. You want to have different variations, things that are relevant, related to that keyword, but aren't that keyword, plus some things that are natural, like click here and new video and the name of the company and the name of the person, things that would be natural. So definitely, and in any kind of linking you're doing.
All right, very good. Thank you, Carrie. And okay, let me scroll down. Okay, Christine, we're coming up, and it's 2:01, and obviously we have gone over time. How much longer do you want to go in terms of answering questions?
Well, I do probably have to wrap it up here, but I'm definitely open to answering questions, and I'm on Facebook or email or anything I can do. I would be happy to, or ideas for future presentations. All this can, if maybe these questions can help more people. If one person has a question, it's likely that more do. So.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I will gather up the remaining questions, and then I will send those off to you. And then why don't we try at some time in the future to do a part 2, because this is kind of like the question board just kind of lit up, and yeah, there's a lot of people are really interested in the things that you're talking about. So maybe we can plan another future one, but in the meanwhile, I will bundle up the questions and send them off to you.
I'm conscious of people's time and everything, but if we want to do like a couple more, we can.
Sure. Okay. Well, good. We'll do a couple more here. Let me kind of scroll down, and we'll just squeeze in what we can. And then you just say when, Christine, and then we will, because we're already past 2.
Wrap it up by 15 after?
Sure, yeah, we'll go to 2:15 EST, and so we'll do some questions until then. Okay. All right, so I've got a question from Dave, and he says, if you're in business of any sort, okay, let's see, he's got it. Okay, that's a comment, so we'll just kind of move on. Alex is asking, Christine, so the press release on your site, is it an HTML page with all those links?
Yes. And I'm not just, I can only speak for my own site because I engineered, I made it. So I can speak for mine, but mine isn't the only one like this, and I can tell you what to look for. When we developed this site, and because I come from an SEO background and PR and content marketing, we knew how to organize the code so that it was give it a better chance of every page ranking for the search engine. So like when you enter a title of a press release, if it is an HTML page, yes, the title becomes the title tag. It becomes the words in the URL. The summary becomes the meta description. The anchor text is, yes, our links, and yes, it's an HTML page. And then, any kind of information you put about on the image becomes an alt tag. So you can look for those particular things. Like if you're evaluating press release sites, you might want to look at the URL. Does it have keywords in it? Does the title tag, can you basically, do you have any influence over the title tag, because the title tag becomes the title of your press release becomes the title tag. Those are ways that when you're publishing on other sites, you don't have as much control over it as if you have on your own site. But if you're publishing content on a site that's made to be optimized, then you can really work with it.
All right, very good. And let's see, Alex has a follow-up question, and it's kind of an informational thing. Christine, he wants to know, it doesn't look like, maybe he doesn't spend a lot of time on Facebook. He's wondering if you have a LinkedIn equivalent to your Facebook page.
I do. I can give you I guess I can give you the URL, Charles, and you can send it to everybody.
Sure, yeah, no, that's great, yeah. And then what we'll do is I will send it out to everybody who's registered, and I'll make sure to get it out along with the recording. Matter of fact, we'll just put it in the recording, too.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thanks for that question, Alex. Renee asks, said, are there packages available if you're sending press releases for various companies? Meaning a more economical way to send releases if you are sending about 5 or 10 a month and it's for a variety of clients. Renee, right at the end of the call, since we're not really doing a sales call per se, what I'm going to ask Christine to do is to just kind of go over what Online PR News has available. Okay, and then maybe she can explain to you kind of how all of their packages work. And I will just interject that of the press release services, for the effect that you are going to get, their site is probably, it's the best value that I've seen. And I've been around this for a little while, since 2007, and just in terms of the value for what you are actually going to put out in dollars, versus whatever else is out there, and we all know the various sites. We don't have to name them by name. Theirs is the best value that I've seen. I'll just say that. So I'm going to ask her pretty much at the end to go over their packages, and if you'll just stick around until then, you can probably get the answer to that. And let's see. Well, Betty's taken off, so I'm gonna go past here. Stephen is asking, does the day of the week of the press release, does the day that the press release is released make any difference anymore, given the SEO focus of press releases?
I love that question, and I wrote a blog post about it because a lot of people ask that. And when I asked 3 different people, 3 different marketers for their opinion, and I'll actually send you the link to that blog post too. But you're right, because this lives online indefinitely. So does it really matter if you publish on Tuesday or Saturday? Here's what I think. Think about if you're a real estate agent and you've got a open house, it kind of makes sense to maybe put that out on Saturday morning, because that may be when people are tweeting about it and talking about it, and it'll show up on different things. But if you're, think about who you're wanting to be in front of, and mostly I'm saying that for the social media and the Google News reasons, because those are things where they're only there for a short period of time. Other than that, if it's online and it's optimizable, it'll be there indefinitely. And that's another thing to think about is, Charles, like when I was going to do a press release for this thing that we're doing right now, but I decided to announce it instead of before, afterwards, because then it will have the link to the recording, which will always be relevant to people, versus the live webinar, which is only relevant if you happen to see it before it happened.
Right. Yep. Right on. Okay, Stephen, great question. Thank you for that. And let's see. Alex is asking, he says his boss continually asks him to measure and quantify how well their press releases are doing. Are there any tools to measure the effectiveness of a press release?
That is a great question, and I love that question too, because there are some sites that have fancy stats and stuff, but they don't. It's interesting when you're in control of stats, you can kind of manipulate them any way you want. Like what was the John Mayer song? It's like when they control the information, they can tell you anything they want or something like that. But there are ways to package up information that looks really great. Like I have, and some people don't even care. So they just want to see that number. But when we made our stats, I was like, look, I don't want any fluffy stuff that doesn't matter. I don't want to show things that don't matter, or like inflate a number by like saying, oh, you had this many headline views, but really that's just the number of people that hit our homepage that day. That kind of feels not true. They weren't really, they may have come to my homepage, the OnlinePRNews.com homepage, but they didn't necessarily, or they saw, 1 million people could have seen your feed title on the sidebar of a web page, but to me that's not really them seeing your headline. So the way and it's hard to say like this many people saw your press release, because we're syndicating it out over a network, and so I only can have stats from my site, but I can't tell how many people saw it on all these other places. I mean, what I can do is show like, okay, here are places where it was published, or here are at least some of the places it was published. You can look at those. Here's what happens when you do a Google search for your title. And even at that point, it's like the press release may be on 50 sites, and you're only going to see 8 in the search results, because Google's changed what it's showing and indexing. But doesn't mean they're not there, and that those particular sites don't have their own readership. It's really hard. And then another stat that is interesting is like, how many people are talking about the keywords you're talking about in Twitter or on different social networks. I think, I guess the best way, to measure, you could look at, use your own Google Analytics to see where people are coming from. I've found, as when I'm doing promotion for different things, like I did a brand new site and did a couple press releases, and it was driving half of the traffic. That to me said, hey, this worked. It's a brand new site. And then also, that was pretty much all I did, and the site was ranking within a week for the keyword terms that I wanted it for. That, to me, was a success. It is hard. And then can you put a dollar value or a measurement on the value of when someone types in your company name and they get a page of positive results and they say, oh yeah, this is a company I want to do business with, they must be a leader. That's something there's really no statistic on that. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit difficult to come up with stats, and it's something that I've tried to wrap my head around a lot. But there's some influential factors where someone sees a press release and then they go with you instead of somebody else because for whatever reason it's legitimized your company, or they heard about it where they hadn't heard about it before. I have a really hard time answering that question. I wish there was an answer, but stats are interesting. And also we consider ourselves the people's press release site. So if anybody has ideas on stats or what their bosses are asking for and how we could possibly collect them and show them, I'm always all ears for that.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. Well, we're coming up on 2:15. What I'd like for us to do is I'm going to take the remaining questions and I'm going to put them in a Word document and send them off to Christine. You will be getting a link to the video or when we're done rendering and getting it posted. Also, how many of you all feel like you learned something today? If you learned something, I want you to put a Y in the question box. Okay, great. So this has been valuable to you, and I'm glad that it was. Excellent. Very good. Well, I don't want you to miss a single webinar in the series. You can get all access to all of the Actionable Intelligence webinars where we're not going to be pitching, but really just giving you some education in the way that Christine did. And you can do that by going over to gainmindshare.com/AIM. Again, gainmindshare.com/AIM. Sign up for all of our webinars, and you will get advance notice to all of them. Also, as I said, you should be heading over to the Facebook page of Online PR News for sure. And I'm going to have Christine give you that address along with some information on what it is that they offer. Okay, Christine?
Yeah, it's funny. Our URL is OnlinePRNews.com, but our company name is Online PR Media. So if you were to look for our Facebook, you'd probably want to type in Online PR Media. And we do try to, have linked to information, where we publish a lot of informational how-tos and templates and things like that. So as well as just try to have discussions and have fun. And then as far as the packages that we offer, and this is kind of across the board with any press release site, because I know you're looking at what are the differences between these packages. So we offer a free press release for everybody, that basically it has everything here. It doesn't have anchor text. It doesn't have images and videos. Then we offer one that just stays, it's published on our site, but you can add a lot of the multimedia elements. And then as the prices go up, it's just a larger and larger amount of syndication. So my favorite one's the $79 one. And like you said, the value is a big deal to us. The reason we started this company, we meaning my business partner Tara and I, started this company was because we wanted to give our customers press releases, and they couldn't afford the ones that some of the other sites. And then we wanted to provide, our goal is, can we provide as much value as these sites and do it for less. That was really our goal, and it's become, we buy in bulk, we get syndication. If you were to do this, our $79 package, and you were to just do that one-off, it would cost over $400 because of the way that we're able to negotiate based on volume. So that, and we pass it along to people. But if I heard someone say that they're you're a marketing agency, contact us about that. We'll see. And we do offer bulk, like pay up front and get a bulk discount. We've done that in the past. So yeah, if you contact us at support@onlineprmedia.com and just kind of tell us your situation. We like to help businesses and especially agencies. And we'll see what we can do.
All right, well, I am putting links in the question box and the chat box to the Facebook page, and then as well as for the entire series next week or a week from I think maybe in about 10 days. We're going to be having David Garland, and David Garland actually does the Rise to the Top. I think you'll enjoy that, so you don't want to miss any of the series. We'll be doing copywriting. We'll be doing how to get your clients and yourself on television. We'll be doing how to get corporate sponsors. So don't miss a single one of our Actionable Intelligence webinars. And I think that if they're anything, if they even come close to what we have heard today, and I have no doubt that we will, then you are going to be in for a treat. So with that, what I'd like for you to do, make sure to be on the lookout for the GoToWebinar email, because that will have all of your links in it. Okay, so be on the lookout over the next couple of days. You'll get an email from GoToWebinar. It's going to have everything in it there for you. Now, also, if you want to make sure to get on the webinar list and to get this replay, go to gainmindshare.com/AIM, A-I-M, AIM. Okay, and so with that, I'm going to leave it to Christine to give you any final comments, and then we will wrap it up.
Oh, I just wanted to say, thank you for listening. I could talk about this all day long. I enjoy it, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Also, ideas. Like I said, we love to hear ideas. You're out there. I mean, we're doing too. We're promoting for clients as well, so we're in the trenches too. But anything ideas that you have, or challenges that you're seeing. We love to hear about those kinds of things, so that we can grow. And like we said, we think of ourselves as the people's press release distribution site. So I don't want to be a big nameless, faceless entity company. We want to work together and have the most effective resource for ourselves as marketers and PR people. So I really do appreciate. I wish I could have. I appreciate getting to know some of you through your questions, and I really thank you for listening.
Okay, everybody, and it looks like I'm going to take 1 minute here, and looks like the URL that I put up as things would go is not working. So I will make sure that I get the right. I will make sure that I get the right URL to you. Please be on the lookout for your GoToWebinar email, and it'll have all the links in there, everything that Christina's promised, in addition to the replay. Okay, so everybody, thank you again very much for being here. Definitely appreciate having you. And once again, Christine, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say thank you for all of the great information that you have provided. And I've got a bunch of notes here, and I'm pretty sure everybody else does also. So on behalf of Gain Mindshare, thank you so much, everybody, to Christine, and thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.